Former President Trump's alleged attempt to undermine U.S. democracy and remain in power has led to yet another federal indictment.
Yeah, here we go. Trump now has to appear in court tomorrow, but one of his newest attorneys is already laying the groundwork for his defense.
Our defense is going to be focusing on the fact that what we have now is an administration that has criminalized the free speech and advocacy of a prior administration during the time that there is a political election going on. That's unprecedented. Donald Trump had every right to advocate for his position. While he was president, he saw irregularities, he saw deficiencies in the election process. He raised those. He was being told under oath by people around the country that there were problems with the election. He also saw in real time that the rules were changing without the state legislatures weighing in. And ultimately, he had every right, in fact, a responsibility as a United States president to raise those issues. And now his advocacy is being criminalized.
Joining us now to add some perspective on this is former Broward County Assistant State Attorney Maria Schneider. Good morning, Maria. Thanks for being with us. Let's get to it here. Let's walk you through the charges now. How serious are they? Because we heard time and again, conspiracy, 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 conspiracy.
They're very serious charges. Ex-President Trump has been charged with 4 counts. 2 of them carry maximum penalties of 5 years in prison. 2 of them carry penalties of up to 20 years in prison. Obviously, he would not be receiving the maximum penalties for any of these, but these are significant penalties. And he happens to be in front of a judge who has a history so far of being very tough on people who participated in the attempted insurrection of January 6th. This judge means business, and she is the one who is going to be presiding over this particular case that Mr. Trump is facing.
Yeah,
so
I want to jump in, Maria, for that, because you mentioned this judge. Let's talk a little bit about her, because it sounds like you have some background. She was an Obama appointee, right? And as you mentioned, she has been dealing with some of these hearings, these sentencing hearings, and she has been very vocal. I want to put up something that she has said in one of the hearings back in December. She basically said it has to be made clear that trying to stop the peaceful transition of power is going to be met with certain punishment. Now, there's already pushback from attorneys saying that this judge may not be right for this case, and in fact, maybe they should try to get another one. Will that happen?
You know, you can always move to recuse a judge if you have cause. If a person who is accused of a crime has a reason to believe that the judge is predisposed against them, where the judge says things that make them fear that there is a particular agenda behind the judge's actions, then yes, it is possible to move to recuse a judge. However, this judge was randomly assigned, and not being happy about the actions, criminal actions, is not reason to recuse a judge. She would have to do something specifically involving this case, the facts of this case, this particular defendant, for that legal basis to arise. So it's not just something that you do because the judge rules against you or you think that the judge doesn't like the criminal activity that you've been charged with. It has to go beyond that for a judge to be recused. All
right, last question here, kind of a two-parter. 5 of the 6 conspirators appear to be his attorneys. That includes Rudy Giuliani, John Eastman, also Sidney Powell, just to name a couple here. Does this really attack Trump's argument that he was just following the advice of his attorneys? And could that be a defense? Look, I was just following my advice.
It is a defense. Anything is a defense as long as the defendant chooses to raise it. However, realistically, there is some pretty solid evidence mentioned in the indictment that shows that people with knowledge were advising President Trump that there was no basis for the allegations he was making. He has every right to say whatever he wants to. America has, you know, a longstanding history of supporting free speech. But when you use that speech to subvert the outcome of an election without basis, without any realistic basis in fact, then you have committed a crime. And that is what Mr. Trump is charged with doing. There's a very, very big difference between a regular person believing something, with even Mr. Trump believing something, and, you know, someone who has a reasonable basis for that belief and to continue raising those issues. And it appears that Vice President Pence, as well as many other of his advisors, not just people from the outside, but the president as sitting advisors, were telling him that there was no basis for the allegations that he was making. Right. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out in an open forum.
Yeah, indeed. And you mentioned Vice President Pence. He She was also cited as taking contemporaneous notes. We'll see how much that plays at trial as well. Maria, I wish we had more time. We could talk to you about many aspects of this, but we do appreciate your time this morning.
I'm happy to help. Thank you.